into this belt stretch flow video. I begin by doubling up the belt and keeping some tension along it. Here as I go into some deep side stretches. And I'm just breathing here side to side. Getting a nice stretch along the intercostals, separating the ribs, as well as my lats. And then again, taking that doubling grip of the belt, bringing the belt in front, and taking a nice full body twist here with slightly bent knees. And making sure to bring the head along with the rest of the body, turning through the neck, getting a nice spinal twist as well. And then just switching that grip behind the back. Now getting some more slack for the back muscles as I twist. And now going into this exercise here called shoulder dislocates, although I'm not a big fan of the name. So just work with your range of motion for this one or with any of these movements. But here we don't want to force it too much if you're unable to go all the way back, especially after a hard session. You know, your arms and shoulders might be tighter than usual. So just going to the degree that you can. And making sure not to tense your shoulders up as you go through this. And definitely keep on breathing. This movement often taught with a bar or a stick. And then here again, I take the grip behind the back, spreading out the feet and coming into a forward fold, getting into the legs, bringing some length along the hamstrings. And also some more slack along the shoulders with that nice long stance and grip. Lots of space between the hands. Bringing a rotation here, starting to twist right and left. Bring my head to turn with the rest of the body too. A little bit of a shoulder loosening there. Feel free to move. Release your head, your neck, your jaw, wherever you feel tension. Make this practice your own. And with this particular movement, just remaining stable through your legs as you move your upper body. Of course, if this is too much, you can also just bend the knees rather than straightening, making it more comfortable for your hamstrings. And here I'll start to take a few circles or pendulums in one direction before changing direction, still keeping tension on that belt to draw those ends apart. Here you may want to breathe up, breathe in as you go up, breathe out coming down. And now you'll notice that I start to change direction with each time as things get more loosened up. And just taking a good front stretch there. Saying hello to a buddy, praising God. All right. And then coming down to the ground here, we'll get into some lunges and further shoulder stretches. So of course you're getting the benefit of the low lunge with some thigh lengthening at the back, a nice calf stretch in the front knee once you bend in. And you can't see the grip of the belt. However, you can even start very low on the belt with that bottom hand. So just start small. Don't stress your shoulders or your back too much. And eventually let your hands walk a little bit closer together. Let your elbows continue to draw backwards. And common mistake here, or I guess a missed point, would be that a lot of people just let their head drop. So do your best to keep some neck control. Let your head remain level. If you notice your head falling or it's difficult to keep it up, it may be a sign of tension in your upper back, neck, or just need to develop a little bit more muscle control there. And here you can spend about 10 breaths on either side. If you're really tight, I would suggest doing less, so about 3 to 5 breaths on each side, and then switch back and forth a couple times and repeat this one so that you can gradually spend a little bit longer in it. And just be aware that if you overgrip with the hands, it may add to extra shoulder tension. So you're just lightly holding the belt enough to create some tension and to hold it in place. Also, with that movement of your breath, that pumping of your lungs is going to allow for a little bit more lubrication in this stretch. With some movement through the ribs and the lungs, things are going to loosen quicker for sure. And now shifting into a little bit more lower body exercises. Now you can bring the belt to the forefoot, just underneath your toes, so you get some good contact there. You can keep your hands pretty high up the belt. And if you feel like it's easy, of course, you can reach and walk your hands a little bit lower down the belt. Notice here how my shoulders are back away from my ears, and I'm looking for a long spine. My heels reaching away, my toes pointing back, pressing the back of my leg towards the ground. And there's always a way to find your way in, especially if you're tight there. You could also bend the knees in that particular stretch. And that even applies to these ones that you'll see coming up. So here we'll just come down onto the back and loop that belt over that same spot under the toes, below the toes. Starting with one leg at a time. 3 angles here for the legs and the hips, beginning with just that straight drawing back of the leg. Again, here you'll see me extending upwards to the sky, but you can also dial it off the tension if you need to bend your knee. Spending a few breaths in each angle. Next is the outer angle for the inner leg stretch. Notice how the elbows are tucked in towards the side of the body just to make this nice and easy and integrated, moving from the center here. Make it comfortable for yourself. And then bringing that leg towards the outside, stretching the outside hip. And now making a smooth change there in the center, switching my foot in the loop. And then again, just bringing that leg straight inwards, shoulders down. And you might notice me talking to a buddy there. So something interesting about stretching after training, after jiu-jitsu, is that a lot of people will sit around leaning on the wall and just be complaining about how tight they are, how much the body's in pain. But the funny thing is that if people were to just do the same chatting and just stretch at the same time, you would be able to work through a lot of that tension. Might as well, because you're already there, you're already warm after practice, and the body is calling for a stretch. And here, getting into my third angle across the body. Almost wrapping up here. Just a quick belt flow, just over 10 minutes. Time well spent after practice. And that's all there is to it.